Greetings. This is Dara Hoffman-Fox, and I'm in the middle of reading my book to you, You and Your Gender Identity, A Guide to Discovery. You can look at the playlist on this channel for the book if you want to go back and see the other episodes. Right now we're picking up with Chapter 3, which is called Feeling the Fear and Doing It Anyway. It's a very dense chapter and there's a lot in here, so this is definitely going to be broken up between more than one video. So let us begin. Chapter 3, Feeling the Fear and Doing It Anyway. There's something you need to know from the start of this journey. Your fear is still going to be with you and may even increase as you move forward on this journey to discover the truth about your gender identity. In any good story, the main character usually has reluctance to take on whatever challenge they are being faced with. How many times in Lord of the Rings did Frodo say he wasn't meant for this type of adventure? How many times in the Hunger Games did Katniss throw down her bow and arrow, both literally and figuratively, and try to walk away from her destiny? Think of your fears as unwanted guests in your home. They aren't leaving anytime soon, so you need to come up with a plan to deal with them. The more you get to know them, the more you'll know what to do about them. By examining the root of your fears, you'll shift from feeling as if they are controlling you to you feeling more in control of them. This mastery comes from having awareness and understanding of your fear, and then using this knowledge to break its hold over you. This chapter will provide you with tools to keep your fears from paralyzing you as you move closer to the truth about your gender identity. Learning to work together with your fear. What follows is a visualization exercise to help you gain a different perspective on the role of fear in your life. Through this shift, you'll learn how to work together with this fear as opposed to letting it overpower and paralyze you. Step 1. Introducing your bodyguard. Picture someone you would like to have as your very own personal bodyguard, to have by your side when you're feeling threatened and unsafe. For example, I imagine that my bodyguard is Samuel L. Jackson's character, Jules from Pulp Fiction. What does yours look like? What's their name? They can be human, animal, mythological, whatever you most connect with. This is a chance for you to write it down. Step 2. Why do you have a bodyguard? First of all, what's the name of your bodyguard? Write it down. Imagine that name of bodyguard has been with you since you were born. It's inevitable that we will encounter threats in our life, and this bodyguard is there as a psychological defense to keep us safe. As you move through your childhood and adolescence, your bodyguard is highly alert to what it is that makes you feel hurt, sad, or afraid. Therefore, they're going to do whatever it takes to keep you from feeling that way. In theory, this probably sounds great. Who doesn't want to avoid those feelings? But the problem is that your bodyguard is hypervigilant. They take the job of protecting you very seriously. So even though your bodyguard means well, there's a downside to this so-called overprotection. Anytime someone is overprotected, they risk being unable to experience life to the fullest, stunted growth, and hiding truths from themselves. For example, your bodyguard saw you pry open your trunk of secrets on page 16. Their ears perked up as they heard your hidden thoughts and feelings about your gender identity rustling around in there. They looked up and saw you crouched over the trunk, reaching your hand in and beginning to lift that part of you out. Hoping they could get to it before it was too late, your bodyguard sprinted toward you, bellowing out to your trunk, "You there! Close your lid and don't open it ever again. I won't allow you to harm my human." In the past, your bodyguard has seen what it's like when you tried to let that part of you out. They didn't like what they saw happen to you, not one bit. So they grabbed that part of you and put it in the trunk, hoping it was for good. Anytime your bodyguard thought someone, maybe even you, was getting too close to that trunk, for comfort, they would pull out a weapon, a gun, a knife, nunchucks, whatever they thought might work. Your bodyguard's weapon is actually your fear. Your bodyguard knows just what to say while holding up that weapon, anything that will keep you from getting closer to that trunk. Quote, You know I hate to do this, but I can't allow you to go into that trunk. Don't you remember how you felt before I locked all that stuff up in there? Do you want to be judged, hurt, cast out? Let me remind you what will happen if you take that out of the trunk. Your bodyguard is really only trying to protect you and keep you from harm. But your bodyguard does not know what actually constitutes a real threat. This means that fear, in other words, your bodyguard, in other words, yourself, can mislead you into believing things. They may not actually be true. That may not actually be true. Additionally, even if there are actual threats for you and your bodyguard to reckon with, you have the right to choose self-actualization over continued repression. All right, now we're going to go through an exercise in which you are going to create a relationship with your bodyguard. It might take a while for you to recognize when your bodyguard is making their presence known. However, once you are able to do this, you can develop the habit of starting a dialogue with them whenever your fear surfaces. Here are some ways you can do that. Thank them for being there for you all this time. Remind them that you know this is going to be scary, but you can get through this together. Ask them to continue to let you know when they think you are in danger, because this can help you be more vigilant and cautious. Encourage them to understand your point of view and listen to their point of view as well. Here's an example of how this can work. All right, the scene is Dara hanging out in their office, deep in thought. Dara says to himself, I think I'm ready to get a big tattoo on my right forearm. It's something that I've always admired on others, and I've imagined it on myself and really like the thought of it. Jules enters the room. Hey, Dara, I couldn't help but notice your line of thinking just now. And as your bodyguard, I have to say I'm getting a bit concerned about it. Dara, hey, Jules, what's up? What do you mean? Jules, well, think about it. When you were a kid, you would do some, let's say, not so feminine things with your friends, and most of the time you got made fun for it. Dara, yeah, I remember that. Like when I would try to play football at recess with the guys, how I'd want to be Han Solo instead of Princess Leia, how I liked having short hair and wore jeans and t-shirts all the time. Jules, right. Do you remember feeling so awkward and weird and isolated? I hated to see you go through that. That's when I told those not so feminine feelings of yours to F off because I didn't want to see you hurt anymore. Dara, so you see me getting this tattoo as being a not so feminine thing, huh? Jules, not just yes, but hell yes. I'm not saying I don't think it's a true expression of who you are, or that it wouldn't be cool as hell. I'm not sure how much I can curse on YouTube without it being a problem. Cool as hell to have it. But think about the judgment, the looks, the snickering. You'd be labeled as being butchy or a wannabe guy, you know? Dara, I can definitely see why you are worried about this, Jules. But don't forget, I'm 40 years old now, not 8. I really do think I'm ready for a step like this. Even if those things happen, I don't know if I really care anymore. Jules, swinging his gun around, stomping his feet. Dara, you're killing me here. I really do hear what you're saying, and I'm almost convinced that I might be acting overly protective right now, but it just makes me so nervous. I don't want to see you get hurt, child. Dara, you're awesome, Jules. I'm so lucky to have you on my side. Look, let's find a way to do this nice and slow so you can feel a little more relaxed about this. I will always need you to be there to watch out for me. Jules, chuckles. Okay, I'm open to trying that idea now. Now, how about we go grab a big kahuna burger? All this serious talk has got me starving. The next time one of your top fears arises, take the time to dialogue with your bodyguard to learn more about the roots of your fear. That's one of my favorite chapters, I must say, and it's one that I usually read at book signings and gatherings and things like that. So, the chapter is not over, but that's one of my favorite parts of this chapter. So go ahead and take some time to think about how you can start dialoguing with your bodyguard. And next, we're going to pick up with this chapter. The next portion is called Setting Appointment Times with Your Fears. Lovely to have you here listening to my book, and feel free to list any comments about how this maybe has been helping you. And by the way, at the end, you're going to see how you can get a copy of the book as a PDF for only $1.99. So hold on one second, it's coming up.